Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're already subscribed. If you're not, if you could take a wee second just to hit the subscribe button, it would really help me out. I am 2 people away from hitting 100 subscribers, which, like, I know in the grand scheme of things and for a lot of people might not be a big deal, but for me, as someone who's just started out on the platform or YouTube, I'm trying to really celebrate every milestone. I kind of took that approach when I started my WordPress blog, and I found I'm a very target motivated person, so when I set myself targets, it gives me something to strive for and helps me work. And obviously the higher the number of subscribers I get, the closer I get to being able to monetize my videos, which I'm just going to be honest, that's obviously the goal of everybody making content here on YouTube, so I'm just going to be straight with you. Today I'm going to make a video that's a little bit different. I mean, it's like still within the same realm as videos I've made in the past, but it's going to be more like travel specific and about personal travel experience and making that personal experience just easier and more enjoyable, to be honest. I'm going to be talking about 10 apps I've found that are free. I'm an iPhone user, so if you're an Android user, I'm sure you probably can get all of these apps, but like don't quote me, like, please. But yeah, you can definitely get all of these apps on the App Store. The ones I've kind of streamlined down to are ones that you can use globally. There are a few apps I've used in the past. It could be even like airline apps. Obviously, you fly different airlines different times. There's an app, Grab. It's kind of like the Thai version of Uber. I'm sure they use it in other East Asian countries as well, but I'm not going to be talking about apps that are just specific to specific countries because I don't want to be like excluding anybody. I want everybody who watches this video to maybe get some inspiration, get some ideas, and hopefully get some help from this video. I'm going to try my best not to edit this and try to say it all in the oneer. If you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that I find it very uncomfortable to talk to the camera, to be perfectly honest with you. I kind of stumble over my own words, I stutter, I forget to breathe, to be honest. But I'm going to try and do it all in a oneer. I think it's just a good practice run to kind of build my confidence talking to the camera. So please be patient with me. So let's just get straight into the list, because I want this video to be a little bit more concise than other ones, because I want people to be able to watch it, get the information, download the apps, make your holiday better. The first one I'm going to talk about is Google Maps. Now, as an iPhone user, Apple Maps comes pre-downloaded to your phone, but to be perfectly honest, the way Apple Maps is formatted, I don't like the way it's just a kind of, it doesn't give you really street names unless you zoom all the way in. It gives you like a kind of aerial 2-dimensional view, and although I find maps pretty easy to kind of navigate, I just find that Google Maps, when you're looking at the screen, it's as if you're looking at the street ahead of you. It's a 3-dimensional. You can see like every corner, every street name, and I just find it a lot easier, especially it's things you don't think about when you're traveling, especially long haul, or if it's a place you've never been before. You're tired, like, you know, when your brain just doesn't like connect quick enough or properly. I just find it's like a lot easier to use than Apple Maps, to be honest. Another tip I'll give you about whether you use Google or Apple Maps, both apps you can actually punch in a route while you still have internet access. Download it to your phone so that when either you get off a train or a plane, or you're walking to a restaurant or a bar, you don't have to use you don't have to find somewhere to get Wi-Fi, or you don't have to be charged roaming fees, which, like, we all know can be astronomical. The next app I'm going to talk about is Google Translate. This was a very difficult lesson I learned the first time I ever went travelling long haul. We were in Beijing, we were trying to find the Summer Palace. All of the Beijing subway station, nothing was in English, which was probably a little bit naive in hindsight. I would never do it again. I would never assume anything would be in English ever again. But if we could have just, you know, like punched in the stop that we knew we had to get off at and compared it to their maps, we would have been there so much easier. But then we had to find someone that spoke English, and they had to direct us, and it was just like a load of hassle. Even things like menus, if you're at a hotel or a bar and the staff, their English isn't that strong. We were in Halong Bay, we wanted to order like some pizza and french fries, and we just like typed it in to Google Translate. It converted it to Vietnamese, and then they just phoned and ordered it for us, because we stayed like quite away from the bay, the more like central tourist area, and it was very hard to find people that spoke English, especially that understood Scottish English. You know, like we don't exactly have the easiest accents. So yeah, that's just a wee tip. The next app is TRIPADVISOR. I know if you're from the States, you might be more inclined to use Yelp, but for me, I find that TRIPADVISOR, because I think it's a little bit older as well. I don't know, I just like the way it's formatted. I like that you can book excursions and things like that on it, and I just find that there's like more plentiful reviews, and the reviews are of a much higher quality than Yelp. That's just my personal opinion. You can use it to find reviews on anything from like a driver who does like private transfers, to hotels, to bars, to like anything you could think of that you would consider having a review for or reading a review for. TripAdvisor has it. Another good thing about TripAdvisor, especially if you're looking to book into a hotel or you're looking to find a bar or a restaurant, you can like go in, specify a city, specify the area of the city you would like to eat in. If see, I forget to breathe. If like you want to eat somewhere near your hotel or something like that, you can specify the type of cuisine, you can specify the price range, the star rating. Like I just think it's very easy to maneuver the website / app. So yeah, I just think that's a good app to use, especially if you're visiting, like I said, somewhere for the first time. The next app I'm going to talk about is SKYSCANNER. Now, I actually have a full post on my blog already about how to use SKYSCANNER. When I first started using it, I think you could only book flights on it. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you could only book flights on it. But now you can actually book, you can book hotels on it. You can book car hire on it as well. Basically, SKYSCANNER is a comparison website. You can be as ambiguous or specific with when you want to fly, where you want to fly, how you want to fly, meaning either class or if you want to fly direct, if you don't mind taking a layover somewhere to save some money. I just think it's such a good comparison website. I know there's literally hundreds of comparison flight websites. I just prefer SKYSCANNER, to be honest. A wee tip with SKYSCANNER is if you do find a good deal and it's through a third party website, I understand some people aren't comfortable booking through third parties. I always tend to go and have a wee double check on the airline's own website for that flight. Then you can like punch in the dates and stuff like that. Very often it's either the same price or very similar in price. Just for example, we found return flights to Bangkok last year for I think £334. Sorry if you can hear all the noise outside, it's a beautiful day and loads of people are out. Yeah, it was £334 on the SKYSCANNER website. We went straight to the Etihad website and I think we paid maybe £360. So for the extra £26, we both had the peace of mind that, okay, we've booked directly through the airline's website. If there are any problems, then we need to deal with the airline directly and not through a third party. Like, it just adds a middleman, you know, and I just think it's easier to book direct. But yeah, it's a great comparison website. And like I said, you can actually specify, so if I was to fly from Glasgow, you can actually specify to fly anywhere, and it'll give you all the options of where you can fly from cheapest to most expensive. So if you literally are looking for a last minute trip or a trip as a gift, you're not that fussed where exactly you're going, it's a great website to use to get the very best flight prices basically. Next one I'm going to talk about is TRIPIT. Now, I used TRIPIT the first time I ever went travelling, and I used it for this very reason. Well, two reasons. One, I'm like a little bit of a control freak. I like to have everything very organised, and we organised everything in advance. But we travelled to 9 different countries and we booked everything by ourselves. So to it's called like a conglomerate, I think. You can actually, if you download it and the person you're travelling with downloads it as well, you can both share a file, and anything either of you book, you can add to this same file so that your entire itinerary of your trip is all in the one place. It's really handy if you're booking like buses, trains, flights, hotels, excursions, things like that. It's just really good, one, to kind of like see any holes in your itinerary, two, to make sure you don't double book anything, and three, just to be organised and aware of like what your plan is. It really is a great app. It's a great way of organising everything and keeping kind of everybody you're travelling with in the loop. I know that it can often be like one of the most frustrating things about travel is trying to coordinate a group of people. So if you just have this app and everybody kind of adds as they go along and book everything, it just, I think, could probably diffuse a lot of tension. Okay, the next app I'm going to talk about is Rome to Rio. Now, I've never actually used the Rome to Rio app, but I use the website all the time. I actually have a whole section of my blog that is categorised getting places, and basically what it's about is places I've travelled on land or by air before, and it's a kind of comparison of how to get from point A to point B, comparing like private car hire, taxis, buses, planes, trains, etc, etc. But basically when I'm researching for these, if I'm not sure, or I've never done the route before, or I've never done the route with a certain type of transport before, Rome to Rio is a really good tool on pricing of places. It gives like hyperlinks to websites to book tickets, to book taxis and things like that. And it also gives times. It's just very well formatted, I think. And again, if you're visiting somewhere for the first time, and for example, say you're coming to Glasgow for the first time and you want to go to Edinburgh, you just punch it in, it will tell you, okay, it takes an hour on the train, but that costs £13. It also takes an hour on the bus, but that costs £8. You can hire a car for the day, that costs £50. You know, weigh everything up, compare everything, and obviously it just depends on like your preferences for travel as well. Some people don't like buses, some people don't like trains, some people don't want to drive. It's just a really good way to learn how to get around a place. It's actually really good if you're on a budget as well, because it cuts out all the hard work for you. It tells you the cheapest option. The next app is like more of a kind of frivolous one, but it's something that I use every single day, not only when I'm traveling but like in my everyday life as well. It's called VSCOCAM, so I'll leave a link for it below. Before I started using VSCOCAM, there would be so many times where I would take photographs and I would be like, it's okay, but it just needs a little something. Either like light exposure was off, it was a little bit skew-off, the colour didn't reflect what I could see with my own eyes. And when I started editing photos, now I don't want to scare anybody, because some apps are like really overwhelming, and a lot of people are surprised when I say, but I'm really not that tech savvy. Plus I just can't be bothered, to be perfectly honest, spending like 30 minutes at a time editing a photo. I like to kind of adjust the lighting a little bit, change the colour saturation, and then upload it to Instagram. Like that's my process. But if you're not a confident photographer, I think it's a really good way to build your confidence, because it makes your photographs look so much better, to be honest. And the more I used VSCOCAM, I feel like the better my photography became, honestly. Because what happened was, when I was making the picture look the way I wanted it to look when I was photographing things, when I went to photograph the next time, I felt like it was training my eye on how to position my phone, how to like adjust the light, things like that. Honestly, I do think it made me like a better photographer. And any photograph you see on my whole blog is edited on VSCOCAM. It literally takes 20 seconds to do it. It's such an easy app to use, and it just makes your pictures look really, really good, to be honest. Only 3 more. The 8th app I'm going to talk about is Apple Wallet. Now, it's an app that comes pre-downloaded on your phone. It will be like in your little settings folder, probably. If not, you can just like go onto your home screen, swipe left, and then type in wallet, and it'll probably come up. If you've ever checked in online, which is the case for most airlines nowadays, especially if you're flying short haul, Websites like EasyJet, Ryanair, you have to have a boarding pass. You have to either print it out at home or you would just scan your phone at the airport. So when you're travelling with different airlines, it can be, to be honest, a bit of a pain in the backside to have an app for Turkish Airlines, one for KLM, one for Ryanair. So what I like to do is check in as I go and then download all my boarding passes to my phone, and then they're all stored in my Apple Wallet. I used to collect boarding passes, and I know it's not quite the same thing as having like the tangible boarding pass, but it's nice to like scroll through and see all the flights you've been on as well. Also, instead of keeping all the apps for each airline, it means that once you download the boarding pass to your phone, you can go ahead and delete the app, which will free up some memory in your phone as well. Don't worry, I think like if you lose your phone or something like that, you can, if you're traveling with someone, or you can like log in online on a computer and print it. Like it's not like a one-time thing downloading your boarding pass, so don't worry about losing it if you lose your phone, basically. The second last one is TRIVAGO. Now, TRIVAGO, very much like SKYSCANNER, there are hundreds of comparison websites for hotels, but I just like the way TRIVAGO's formatted, especially because I often use booking.com, and the only reason I still use booking.com is because I've used it for loads of years, that's not very good English. I've used it for a few years now, and the longer you use it, you get, it's called something discount. I can't remember, but basically I get a 10% discount on hotels because I'm like a regular user of it. But TRIVAGO, I like the format of it. It's pretty much the same as Booking or any of these websites. You can specify number of nights, amenities, distance from certain like landmarks, distance from airport or train station if you're travelling by train, like the number of stars it has, if there's air conditioning, if there's free cancellation. There's so many things that you can specify. But the great thing about TRIVAGO is you can actually, the price comes up per night, and I think it's a lot easier when you're budgeting to see what you're paying per night instead of like the whole lump sum. I think if, I don't know, say you're staying somewhere for a week and then one of the prices is $280 and one of them's $220. When you look at those two numbers, you might think, oh, for 7 nights it's not that big a difference. But I just feel like when you're actually looking at it, what you're paying per night, it just makes you much more aware of what you're spending in your daily budget, and then it just takes out the maths as well. Obviously when you go and check out at the end, it adds everything up together, but that's just one of the reasons I prefer it. Where else? Last one, very much like VSCO, it's a bit of a more frivolous app, but if you're not a reader, then I would just really recommend getting an app like Candy Crush. I know Candy Crush, or the chess apps, or a word search app, but it should be something that you don't need internet access for. That's why like I would say Candy Crush first, because I'm going to recommend that you download the Kindle app, because you can actually pre-download books, much like the routes in Apple Maps, in Google Maps I should say. For travelling, so boring. Like the sightseeing and things like that are amazing, but spending hours upon hours in airports, on planes, on trains, it can be really boring. So I just think it's so important to have something to pass your time, because it's just so boring, honestly. And I think if you don't have anything to do to pass the time, it can kind of put a dampener on your trip. I mean, obviously not a huge dampener, but I don't know, I always find that when I don't have something to do in the airport, it just feels like it just drags. So to be able to read a couple of pages out of a book, or a couple of chapters out of a book, I just think makes everything go so much faster. And I don't know, I just feel like I travel in such a better mood when I do it. Yeah, but like I said, if you don't, if you're not into reading, just get something you can play a game with. Or if you want to watch a movie or stuff, like Hayu, Netflix, you can download things in advance while you have internet access, and then it means that like when you're on a plane and you don't have Wi-Fi, you can just use the pre-downloaded thing and just watch it on your phone. So that's it. That's all the recommendations I have. I don't know, what do you think? I'm sure loads of people have loads of different opinions on what apps are helpful, but that's just my kind of all around guide, I guess. Probably not the best video I've ever made, to be honest. But yeah, I just wanted to film something a little bit more light-hearted than the videos I've been filming recently, especially that 40-minute packing video I uploaded the other day. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a little card up here. Like I said at the beginning of the video, thank you so much for anybody who's taken the time to watch any of these videos that I'm uploading. And if you could take a second to either leave a comment, like, or subscribe to my channel, I would really, really, really appreciate it. And I will see you next week. Bye.